Day 2 of the 2025 Reese Senior Bowl practices is in the books. And guys, Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss, ran the offense efficiently and made himself some money. We're going to talk about him and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parsons. I'm an offensive draft analyst over with Bleacher Report, and that's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting over with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. Guys, thank you for tapping in with us Monday through Friday, every single day, and being our everyday. As you know, we did it yesterday. We're doing it again today. Post-practice Senior Bowl recap, Money Makers, Bag Fumblers, and then what we're looking forward to see on day 3 of the Reese's Senior Bowl. But before we get into that, guys, Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Keith, I'm going to start when you say money makers, guys who helped themselves. Jackson Dart, quarterback from Ole Miss. He didn't this wasn't a wow performance today. But what he did do, Keith, is he ran the offense efficiently. He made throws. He was accurate. He got the ball out typically on time for the most part. He had a nice deep outcut throw to Ty Felton. He had a nice, I think it was like a slot curl to between two defenders to Jake Brenningstool, who I'll talk about in a little bit, the tight end out of Clemson. I think Jackson Dart, because, they threw the ball a little bit more today. We asked for that yesterday, Keith. Can you throw the ball a little bit more for the second practice?
They listened.
So shout out to the Brown staff, right? They listened a little bit. But Jackson Dart, he did well. And I think for him, it was like, hey, he didn't push the ball vertically down the field. Not a lot of guys are right now. And they're more so checking it down, hitting the first option. When they called it for him, Keith, he hit it. And I think that's the main thing you wanted to see. Just complete the passes, do what the play is designed. And he's good at doing that, right? Hopefully, and we'll talk about it later on, but, hopefully we see more vertical shots on the final day of practice. But, I think Jackson Dart helped himself today.
Yeah, DP, I agree with that. I'm going to go to another quarterback, too. I'm going to go Dylan Gabriel. Because I think this is his second day kind of being solid. And I think he's carving out a role of the thing is that if you're evaluating quarterbacks, right, if you're looking for elite arm talent and one thing, right, but if there's the category of, okay, can this guy get through his progressions and throw accurate passes? I think Dylan Gabriel is a quarterback that can potentially be for you and your team, right? If you're a timing and rhythm guy, you want an experienced guy, you want a guy that appears to be able to see the whole field, make good decisions ultimately with the football, then Dylan Gabriel, I think he's carving out a niche for him. I think that we were a little worried that it would be the same type of hype as the guy from BYU. I know you mentioned that a couple.
Oh, Jaron Hall.
Yeah, yep. And then seeing him in person, but Dylan looks to like that much experience, right, in college has helped him, right, and being in new environments and different situations has helped him. That I'll say, like day 1 and day 2, he's probably been the most steady quarterback, right? As far as exactly what you're getting rep in and rep out. But I'm gonna go to the backfield too, DP, and staying with that first practice. I'm going to go 1, Ollie Gordon, and then 2, Damian Martinez. I think that both of those guys, with the lack of production from this past year, not that they became afterthoughts, but people were associating the production with their, questioning their lack of talent. But I think here in this environment, and this is what we asked for, right? When we came, DP, when we did the Senior Bowl preview shows, we was like, hey, get you out of that environment, see what you're able to do. You look at Ollie Gordon, he looks every bit of 6'3", 230 pounds, right? Like, hey, that's a big back right there. Then you got Damian Martinez thumping in between the tackles, and you're saying, okay, this guy still has juice too, and he's willing to finish runs. It's funny because they almost look like the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield, right? It almost looks like the Najee Harris and Warren combination with those two guys with the national team. So that's two running backs I'll say that made themselves some money too.
Yeah, no, especially and I was watching Damian Martinez. He had some solid runs today, just good footwork, patience, vision. getting into the hole, getting in and out of the lanes, and getting upfield. I like what I saw from him. Keeping it with the running backs. Devin Neal had a good day toting the rock in the second practice. Decisive, good vision, patience as well. Showcase a solid burst. There was one run where he had to negotiate a free runner in the backfield. He gave him a little dead leg. Got outside, beat the pursuit angle and everything like that. It just showcased that ability for him. Keith, Jalen Noel. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going with DP. We have to throw this in there, right? I'm gonna say this. Who? Mike Green, right? We have to Mike Green making himself some money. Whenever you go viral with DP, it's a good thing, right? On the football field. Well, most times, it's a good thing. And that's exactly what Mike Green did. You're talking about lifting another 300-pound man, getting straight to the power, right? And I think that's going to bode really well for him. And I would expect him being a small school guy, right? Where's Marshall is not, is it the MAC? Is Marshall the MAC?
Marshall AAC maybe.
Yeah, one of the two, right? But you think about a comp that is probably going to start getting thrown around for this guy is going to be Khalil Mack, right? And him coming out of Buffalo.
They're in the Sun Belt.
They're in the Sun Belt. Okay. Khalil Mack will be a comp that is probably going to start getting thrown around, and seeing this guy in person, he has the build. DP. I was one of those guys that I questioned what was his actual frame, what was his actual power, what was his actual strength, right? His functional strength. Well, guess what? He said, Mr. Keith Sanchez, you question it, I'm gonna give you the answer, right? And he went straight through through the offensive tackle in that rep, and you have to say that was definitely a guy that made himself some money, right?
No, 100%. I think he showcased that he's not just a guy that has a great ghost move and the dip and bend around the edge, but he should listen, if you are not set, if your feet aren't underneath you, and if you expose your chest, I'm gonna run through you, and I'm gonna power through you.
You better get ready.
You better get ready, man. So I love what I saw from him, and I think honestly, Keith, let's be honest about it real quick. He's probably been the best edge out here. You know what I mean? And this is a good edge group of guys and everything, man. So I think he's absolutely not just made himself some money. I think he stamped himself more than likely as a first-round pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's worked himself into that top 20. When you think about teams that need edge rushers, I'm looking at Carolina Panthers. Again, you won 2 of your last 3. Panthers fan didn't like when I said it. I said, hey, these wins are meaningless because now you're moved out of the Abdul Carter range where you were right in that spot for him potentially. Because, like I always say, on the third downs, I need a bucket getter. I think the Panthers would be a team at number 8 that, or maybe, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets too, because Jermaine Johnson comes up on the contract. He's coming off the injury. And even if he wasn't, you still need another edge rusher opposite of him anyway. I could see him going. I could still see him going top 10 to a team that absolutely needs to improve the edge rush group. Keith, I'm real quick, man. Jaden Higgins, big wide receiver out of Iowa State. You talk about bounce back performance.
Him and Pat Bryant.
We talked about it. Doing too much. When you're 6'3", Keith, it's a lot of stuff you can't do or you shouldn't do. And that's what him and Pat Bryant were doing on day one.
Yep. Watch
Jaden Higgins just play his game. Smooth releases, decisive steps, moving guys out the contact window. He beat one guy down the field vertically, and it was I could, because once he opens that stride, he's 6'3" with long legs. He eats grass with that stride. Once he gets past you and he stacks you, he tracks the ball well. He got open multiple times. I was impressed with him today, Keith. And then I'll close it out. His teammate as well. A shout out to Harold Jr. He bounced back as well, had a good day. Jalen Noel had a really good day today as well. Just I think I came in with a third on him, like a mid-third. I think he's moving himself up with his ability to get open. He had an adjustment on the deep ball. I think it was against Azariah Thomas, and it was a battle between the two. I think Azariah was right in his hip pocket. Azariah looked over the wrong shoulder. Jalen saw it coming, and then he made an outstanding just adjustment catch on it. And then, Keith, I'll close this out. Jake Brenningstew had an outstanding day. And this tight end group in general, man, we keep saying it. This is one of the better and more in-depth tight end groups in terms of talent. If your team needs a tight end, Indianapolis Colts, you might want to walk out of this class with at least 2 of them, or probably 2 of them, because this class, Jake Brenningstew, 6'5", 240, 45 pounds. He gets open. He gets to his landmarks. He's a big target. in congestion, he's so comfortable catching the football, man. Like, this was a good day, a better day than what we saw yesterday, which should be expected. Keith, it was day one of practice. I think the coaches needed to had to feel everything out. The players did as well.
Yeah, I think they heard the noise, right? Like, hey, up the intensity, up the reps, let's get it going, let's get after it. And that's exactly what day 2 was compared to day 1. But DP, let's keep this thing going, man. And we know what comes up must come down. We're talking about bag fumblers, yes. Which players lost themselves a little money, stock down on day 2 of Senior Bowl practice. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field. And the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a bet of $5 and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, well, that's just icing on the cake. Download the app or head over to FanDuel.com to join today and to get started. Bet just $5 and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com to join today and get in on the action. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. Bag fumblers, Keith, guys who dropped the ball. I have to go to, and I hate to do it, but Billy Bowman, our guy from Oklahoma, he had a little bit of a rough day today.
Yeah. And it was tough to see, DP. I'm not gonna lie. A couple times I closed my eyes, DP. I closed my eyes. I closed my eyes and act like it didn't happen. That's what I did.
It was kind of uneven at first. He bounced back, had a pass breakup against, I think, CJ Dupree, the tight end from Alabama. But like Jake Brennistool beat him one-on-one. CJ Dupree beat him one-on-one. He just I think Isaac Tesla? I think Isaac Tesla might have beat him one-on-one. Yeah. Like his size against those big body tight ends, especially, and the 6'3", 6'4" tight ends and wide receivers. Like, don't get me wrong. Those referees were kind of one-sided. They clearly came from the NFL. They were definitely one-sided because they were not calling anything on the offensive pass interference. I saw a lot of guys with the full arm extension, you know what I mean? Full stiff arm during mid-route. I'm like, hey, that's OPI, but there was no flags, you know what I mean? But hey, can't call it, right? But like, he struggled today. Like in that regard, the speed is there. Even like he was able to make up ground and different things of that nature, but it's just the catch point. Like, those guys were so much bigger than he was, and they just were able to go up and get the ball over the top of him, out muscle him for position at times. Yeah, he had a rough day today. I didn't like seeing it. I was hoping after the slow start he was going to pick it up, but yeah, it just wasn't his day today.
Yeah, I'm throw another name in there, DP. Marcus Mbao. As much hype that was coming in here, right? The offensive tackle or just offensive lineman, right? The versatility that he, people projected from him. I thought that this was like a second day of him playing okay, right, and not great, because we thought that he may come in here and then play to the level that you'd be able to walk out of here and say, you know what, this is a top 15 pick, and that's just not been the case. Yesterday in day 1, I thought there was a issue with cadence, right? Today, moved him. I think they moved him to center, right? Let him get some center reps, and it just wasn't a great. Like, it just not great performance. It's not what we thought from a dominant perspective. Losing reps or the reps not being him winning, right? And I think he needed to win, because at the end of the day, it's going to revert back to like, oh, okay, that's the offensive tackle from Purdue, right? Like, at the end of the day, and it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. But yeah, it's not been great days. And I'm not saying he's playing horrible, like, don't draft the guy. It's just when you talk about like, I feel like him and Mike Green were in the same bucket. Like, hey, these two kind of, these guys that were kind of off the radar, people buying into them. There's a lot of hype. Let's see what guy shows up at Senior Bowl and is able to kind of stamp himself as a top 20 pick. And Marcus Mbao is definitely going to need a big day 3 to turn things around.
No, 100%, Keith. I agree with that. And another guy that had a just a rough day was Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama. I just like the from a coaching staff standpoint, I think we talked about it, and I was talking with a couple of people, during practice. I don't care to see him under center right now.
Mhm.
Like, I don't. I
So-
don't care to see it. I just let him play shotgun because it's like he's thinking too much. Like you
Mhm.
can see the wheels turning. He's trying to focus in on. He's getting a lot of information at one time, and it's like he's trying to process that while processing the play. He threw one pass into the dirt. He got picked off, I think, by Jack. What was it? Jack Kaiser, maybe. Over the middle. He connect with Jack Besh, but it looked like it was underthrown. Like he just like lollipopped it. It was just like a rainbow, and it came kind of. It's just his footwork was erratic. He just looks like he's thinking a lot.
Yeah, DP, and you know what it is too is that I don't know if you getting the same feeling, but like you say, it's the overthinking of stuff, right? Like you know how they say, paralysis by analysis,
Yeah.
and then it's also the other side of it is like, hey, like because the best throws from him was him just pushing the ball down the field, right? Like the throw to Jack Besh, and then it was the other one towards the end zone. I can't remember what wide receiver he hit. You know what? It was the Florida. I think was it Florida or Georgia? It was either the Florida or Georgia wide receiver.
I think it was Florida, Shamir DK. I think it was.
Yeah, and he hit him. And
that was
like,
a dime.
okay.
That was a
dime.
That
was a good throw, and it was just like I'm kind of leaning towards day 3. Just take every vertical shot and let it be what it's gonna be, right? Because everything underneath, it just seems like it's just way too much going on. And I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you because I'm like, okay, because I like the interception and things like that. That was the stuff from yesterday's practice, right? The day before practice, day 1's practice, and then it's like, okay, you push the ball vertical some. So it's like, is that a win or is that a loss? Is they kind of like a net neutral, right? And I kind of walked away feeling like it's a neutral performance because you still feel like, okay, there are things that you need to work on. You hit a couple shots, but there's some things you need to work on. Like, and I don't know if this offense because are they because and I guess there's more information we'll have to get. Does each NFL team, as they come in, they teach their offense, right? So this is a heavy under center offense, or will have it been another team? Was it going to be a lot more shotgun stuff and things?
I think it is. I think it's the Cleveland Browns staff, if I remember correctly.
I think so. And I look at that, DP, from the perspective of what I was going to say. That there's a reason why Riley Leonard looked the most comfortable because he plays under center all the time. A decent amount of time at Notre Dame. Like he's used to turning around, handing the football off, like middle of the field stuff, take the quick throw to your tight end, what timing means, things like that. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, it just was you wanted to see, like I said, we saw some decent throws, especially like I said, that throw to Shamir DK was a dime to the corner of the end zone, touchdown. You know what I mean? Like you could tell like he needed that. It was a confidence boost for him because he kind of needed to just kind of like I always talk about, like sometimes you just need to see the ball go in the bucket. Like you just need to see the ball go in, whether it's a layup or a free throw. You just need it, and I think he needed that throw. But it's just like like I said, the dirt throw. The way I don't even know what happened, but he just skipped it, and I was like, what's going on? And then like he had like I said, Jack Kaiser picked him off in the middle of the field, but like I just feel like there's just like I don't know what they're coaching because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm sitting there and I'm watching I can't pronounce the kid's name, Taylor Elgelsmer or something like that, the Canadian quarterback.
Elgersma, something like that.
Yeah, I'm watching him be like them, like the coaching staff in the first practice. I think it's the national. They're allowing him to be more aggressive than the American team is allowing Milroe and even Dart to push the ball down the field, man. And I'm just like, especially with the receivers, having Jalen Royals, who none of the DBs, even our guy Maxwell Harrison, who we like a lot, none of those DBs have been able to play man to man and be physical with him and stop him from getting into his routes and stuff like that. I would like to see that deep ball of him. Like at one point I saw Hunter Wohler and Dan Jackson in the 2 safety set up top. And I was like, man, audible this to 4 verts and attack vertically. Like what in the world? We got 2 strong safeties in the back end. No, I'm going down the field, Keith. And I'm just like, man, like I don't know. It's just it's a different, of course, a different coaching situation, but It's made the evaluation of these quarterbacks a little tougher than we'd like to see, to be completely honest. And then I'll close. Arian Smith had a net neutral day, like because Keith, I was sitting there and like he was catching passes in individuals, and then maybe it was the draft analyst jinx. I don't know. I was like, oh, he's catching the ball. Let's go. He had 3 consecutive drops right after I said that, and I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, and it was on the quick screens too, and then the coach made him do it again. And I was just like, that was another like. You kind of wanted to turn away, that was the South way, like the Southwest situation was like, I want to get away, right? Like, shoot,
that, and then he made a difficult catch, like full extension.
I think in one-on-ones after that, right? Like it was a deep ball. I tweeted it out, like it was a deep ball. He tracked well over the shoulder. It's just. It's gonna be tough just to figure out usage, right? And then I got to be able to trust you, because if it's 2nd and 9, right, and I throw a quick screen, I got to be able to trust that you're gonna catch it, get upfield for 3-4 yards. Because you can be as fast as you want to, but I need you to be fast with the football in your hands, right? If you running without the football, then it doesn't help us much, right? I need you to have the football with you. But DP, let's give the people, man, the Locked On family, a what to watch, a preview. What are we looking for headed into Day 3 of Senior Bowl practice? Talking about that coming up next.
As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Post your job. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. Guys, it's simple. Go ahead and post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they apply. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Of course, Keith, quarterbacks is one of the first things we're going to be looking forward to. We saw a little bit more upbeat, up-tempo practice, a little more pass-happy or getting into the passing game. The second practice, they still went about 45 minutes with the run game, and I'm like, hey, that's not what we're here for. We're here to watch the quarterbacks. So hopefully, what I'm looking forward to watching is for that second practice to see the quarterbacks get more opportunities.
Yeah, just let it rip. Like even in Indy, like give me some route combinations, and maybe they're trying to build on and stack days together. I get it, but we here to let it rip, right? Let it rip. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Like 100%, man. Like let these guys push the ball down the field. Let them call things that they're comfortable with. Like at the end of the day, I don't feel like the coach, from the coaching staff standpoint, that these young men, these quarterbacks on the second team, especially, are just putting opportunities where they can put their best foot forward and at least showcase what they can do. Like it's just. Nope. It's not conducive to success, in my opinion. So I want to see that, Keith, for sure, and I want to see more of these tight ends, man. These tight ends. This is a good group of tight ends, and like Harold Fannin take their step forward. Mason Taylor, I think, was it Billy Bowman? I think he actually, we talked about Billy Bowman and bag fumbles. I think Mason Taylor had a route one-on-one with Billy Bowman, and he dropped him.
Don't say it, DP. Don't say it. I was hoping you didn't say it. Your
LSU Tiger did it to your boy, Keith. He dropped him, but like this group it just looks good from Fannin. Fadone from Nebraska, he's done some good things. Jake Brenningstool, Taylor, like this is a good group of tight ends, man. And I just feel like I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what I really want to see. Get them the ball vertically. Let's push the ball up the seam. Let's see what these defenders stick with these guys down the field on vertical shots. And it's like, hey, let it rip. Like I said, the Elgersmer, the Canadian quarterback, he threw a pick today. But you know what I appreciate, Keith? The aggressiveness. He ripped it. I didn't care. I didn't care about the pick. I'm glad he ripped it. I'm tired of seeing checkdowns. Somebody push the ball down the field a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. DP, I'm gonna go with this. It's gonna be the American team also. Do you feel like the edge rushers have separated themselves? Like as talented as that group is from a name perspective, how many of those guys, and I'm genuinely asking you a question, not in a sarcastic way, how many of those guys truly separated themselves, right? Or had that jump into like top 10? Because we're talking about this group has Kyle Kennard, Jared Ivey, Baron Sorrell, Princely Human Milan, Shamar Stubert, RJ Oben, right? Like a ultra talented group when you talk about the edges. Have any of those guys, I guess, separated themselves to be like, you know what, I'm not just a first rounder, I'm a top 10 pick?
Yeah, I don't think any of them has separated themselves in that regard. I think like Shamar Stewart had a good day today. I saw Jared Ivey, him and Princely. Like Jared Ivey played some 3-tech. I saw Princely at like 2-eye. I was like, hey, what is happening here? Like, but that was after I think Walter Nolan went down, and then Deion Walker went down during the run drill, the heavy run period and stuff like that. Baron Sorrell had some moments. RJ Oben had some moments. I think the American team, nobody's like pulled away. Like how Mike Green has.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
pulled away.
Yeah, it's been a lot of good reps, but it's like, okay, who's gonna dominate, right? And the problem is like if we project this to mock drafts, right? It's okay, cool. Picks 1 through 15, cool. But then 15 to 30 or like 20 to 32, it's like 50 guys that you can put in that situation, right? It's like you want to elevate yourself out of that group of 50, right? You want to leave the group of 50 and go into the top 15. And because I mean, that's the difference between you being a first round pick, automatic contract, money, guaranteed money, XYZ, or you going in the middle of the second round, right? Like that's how drastic the difference is. So all of these guys that we talk about when we see the mock drafts at top 10, I think all of those guys, you can make a case. Yeah, cool. They can go top 15, but they can also go pick 50. And I think it's still that way right now.
No, 100%. And that's and some of it, Keith, and you tell me how you feel about it. Is some of it because of how the practices ran with all the run stuff? Like we haven't gotten these guys outside of the one-on-ones. They're not getting enough reps to rush the passer. Like I remember watching Shamar Stewart yesterday, and we talked about it. It was just like these guys were relying so much on power. Then I saw the day Shamar Stewart had a strip sack where it was like, forget the power, like quick dip, bend around the edge, strip sack. And I'm like, okay, maybe with more reps, you guys just figure out what you need to do. You know, I don't know. It's a wild concept to me, but like I think these guys they're just jumbled up. Where the national practice, you see guys separating like a Mike Green and a Donovan Ezeroku be able to showcase what they can do and everything comes streaming off the edge as true pass rushers. I think I want Baron Sorrell to get more reps. Like I want to see him get more reps because that first step quickness, that bend around the edge, that like power. It's legitimate.
You know who I want to compare him to? I kind of want to go there as far as the flashes of it, but looking at his body type and the functional strength and his build, and not a direct comparison, but I think he has similarities to Jared Verse. As far as the build, and not even compact, but right around that 6'3", 6'4" range, high functional strength guys. They're gonna win by running through the offensive tackles, but still good overall athletes that can trigger, and they're explosive. And we talked about like the power clean explosive, right? Like those guys feel like they can throw around 400 pounds explosive, and not a direct comparison, but I think something like in that range, right? I think he can be that.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Keith. And even to close it out for me, some other things I'm hoping to see. I want to see, will Walter Nolan and Deion Walker be back? Are they good to go? Are they healthy? You know, like I don't know the extent of whatever injury happened during the run drill that forced them into the locker room. Because I'm gonna tell you, Deion Walker, like I was talking with some guys after practice, like. He was showing up in the run drill. Like his pad level was lower. Like his stance, I feel like he adjusted his stance a little bit so he could fire off like from a straight direct trajectory rather than popping straight up like you're like going up a hill. I feel like he was like parting the Red Sea and getting into the backfield. And I'm just like, I hope that he's good to go for tomorrow. Walter Nolan had a dominant day yesterday. Like I want to see more of these guys on the interior because Deion Walker was having himself a day early in the run game stuff, and it sucks that he got nicked up or banged up because then we couldn't see him in the team drills when they did throw the ball, right? Like, can you collapse the pocket on a Jackson Dart and make him hold the ball or get the ball out? When he's, you 6'7", 345. If you keep that pad level against as a pass rusher and you get back there quickly or create a surge, now you put your hand up, quarterback holds the ball because he can't see, different things like that. I hope that Walter Nolan also, press up to Trey Amos. He went off the field as well. And he couldn't put weight, I think, on his right leg. So I'm not sure that the extent of that situation. Hoping that all is well with those young men. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing these quarterbacks, Keith, the tight ends. I'd love to see my guy Jalen Royal get some more reps and some more opportunities. I'd like to see any of these receivers on the American team get some more opportunities. But yeah, man, day 3 practice tomorrow, guys. Listen, you know what to do, man. Get prepared for it. And you know the place that you need to be preparing right here on the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast.
There we go. And I think that's the perfect way to end this show. And DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. Every listener is greatly appreciated here over at Locked On NFL Draft. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. And you can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all gonna talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. As always, thank you for being our everydayers and tapping in with us every single day, guys. On tomorrow's show, we will recap the Money Makers, the Bag Fumblers, and all of that on tomorrow's show from day 3, the final day of the Reese Senior Bowl practices here down in Mobile. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.